All right, it's 6 o'clock. Happy New Year. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We have all board members accounted for besides Joe Lynch. She is going to be gone. And we also have our new student rep, Lily Nelson. So thank you, Lily. If you would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're not gonna call it really any additions to the agenda. We are gonna talk about our committee reports right before we go to the new committee designations. And then we'll also have some discussion over our MREA visit that we did in November. And then also, one thing I wanted to start doing this year is right at the very end, just gonna kind of call it around the horn, that we'll all just go around with all admin or board members, if there's anything that just want to say of something that's going on in the community or whatever else that you want to have people be aware of or whatever else. So, and if you got nothing, you got nothing. So, with that, I will look for a motion to approve the agenda.
I will make a motion.
Pete on the motion.
Second.
Luke on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, first meeting of the year. This is our organizational meeting. So we will elect all of our spots. And we will start off with the election of the chair. So I will look for a nomination for board chair.
I would nominate Clinton Showquist to remain as board chair.
Thank you. Luke with the nomination for Clinton.
I would second that.
Thank you. Is there any other nominations for the board chair? Third time, is there any other nominations for the board chair? All right, thank you all. I will continue to try to do the best I can to represent all of us in our school.
I would just note that, and I don't even want to do this because I don't want this head to get too big, but you've done a great job
Yes.
in the short time coming out of being new to the board and jumping in. You know, I got to see Bob do what Bob did for a long time and was great at it. And Clinton has certainly a different style, but has been phenomenal. I think Jeff, maybe there's days where he wears Jeff out, maybe, but that's okay too. So thanks for what you do, Clinton. It's certainly noticed.
No, he doesn't, he does great.
Yeah, I second that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Clinton.
All right, we'll move on to the election of the vice chairman / treasurer, delegating statutory duties to the Office of Business Affairs. I will look for a nomination.
I'll nominate Luke, the current vice chair, treasurer.
I'd second that.
Okay, we have Luke nominated for the vice chair and treasurer. Second time, any other nominations for vice chairman / treasurer? Third time, any other nominations for vice chairman / treasurer? Congratulations, Luke. You remain my sidekick.
Also can't wait for that.
No, I'd rather duke it out with on a daily basis.
Exactly. Thanks, guys.
All right, next one, election of the clerk, delegating statutory duties to the Office of Business Affairs. I would look for a nomination for the election of clerk.
I would just know, I did talk to Jolynn. She seems up for it
Okay.
again, so I guess if that would be my nomination is to.
Is that your nomination?
It is, Jolynn to continue.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for talking with her.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second time, is there any other nominations for election of clerk? Third time. Any other nominations for election of clerk? All right, Jolyn will remain the clerk. Now, do we have to go through and actually do a motion and second on all those three? Or now we're good with the?
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to letter B. This will be determining if we have either 2 meetings per month or 1 meeting per month, and when they would all take place and what time. So we have had some discussion on that previously. Currently, right now, we do 2 meetings per month on the 2nd and the 4th Monday, with only 1 meeting being scheduled during May, June, July, August, September, and December. Or we will look at going to 1 meeting per month. Jeff and Lori and I have started some discussions about this kind of, I don't know, quite a few months ago, just because there is certain times where it's kind of a struggle to put an agenda together where the Pledge of Allegiance takes up half the meeting. So I guess my recommendation would be is that we look at going to 1 meeting per month, knowing that there might be some more special meetings, which I think that we can all handle if needed. We just gotta make sure the communication's out there for staff if they have anything that needs to get approved, that they are well aware that it's a monthly meeting. But if there's ever anything that's quite important and time sensitive, that we can look at doing a special meeting. So that's just my thoughts. I mean,
I tend to agree. I think as far as the community goes too, I think it'll be easier for the community to know when our meetings are. You know, if it's always first weekend or first Monday and whatever it is, I think versus 2 meetings, I think it makes sense. And then on top of that, unfortunately for this group, we've had a lot of special meetings for different reasons, but we've had to call those and they've all been able to be, you know, we've never had a quorum issue, you know, at least to this point. Things change, but to Clinton's point, we do have a lot of meetings that are 15 minutes, and you know, we could handle those, I think, with 1 meeting a month. Yeah, my thought.
This will go into effect February, so we start.
We would start, so here's
Oh,
the,
here it
the calendar, proposed board meeting calendar for the 1 meeting a month. The other one that we have in the board packet is for 2 meetings, or what we normally have currently. So this will be the 1 meeting a month. We have to have a separate meeting for organizational meeting called the first Monday. And then we would start January 26th, and it would be seen as the 4th Monday of each month. However, in May and in, I believe, December, we'd still have it be the 3rd Monday.
Okay. Makes sense.
Lori, for you, I know we have to approve certain things at certain times to make sure we get them submitted in time. I would imagine that would change a few things for you potentially, just to make sure we get those done, but is that an issue, or should we?
No,
Okay.
being the 4th Monday, it'll work.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Strauss, do you have any, this affect much?
No, I see what you guys are saying, how you had to call on every single person here to give a 2-minute spiel to make the minute last 12 minutes. A couple of meetings ago. So I totally get where you guys are coming from with that.
All right, if there's no more discussion, I guess I'd look for a motion on one way or the other, whether it's 1 meeting per month or 2.
I'd like to make a motion for 1 meeting a month.
Jody on the motion for 1 meeting per month.
I will second that.
Pete on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. And that will be at 6 PM right here at 820 East Minnesota Street, Cannon Falls. Lori, we got a typo. It says Canyon. Come on.
See if you're right.
Oh,
On that
on the agenda.
On the agenda.
Well, you
So
know.
Cannon Falls, and right here in our boardroom, unless stated elsewhere. Okay, moving on to letter C, designation of the official newspaper. We have one paper in town. I guess I would recommend going with the Cannon Falls Beacon. Any other suggestions? So I would look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to stick with the Cannon Falls Beacon as our official paper.
Rondi with a motion for the Cannon Falls Beacon.
I'll second.
Luke on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The official posting place for the school board meetings notices, which is currently in the district office. I think we would like to keep that the same.
Yes. Yep.
So I would look for a motion to approve the official posting place for the school board meeting notices in the district office.
I'll make a motion.
Pete on the motion,
I'll second.
Jody on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This next one, we already approved back in July, correct? So we do not need a motion and a second on this one?
That is correct. This was already done in July because cuts were made prior to the vote, and we typically do it during this meeting, so we'll just skip this agenda item for now.
All right. Move on to letter F, designation of the depository in accordance with Minnesota statute 118A.02.
We do have a rotation of banks, if you remember that from last year. And we have the district office checking account that is currently at First Farmers, and our activity account is at Community Resource Bank. And so this is the schedule that the district came up with years ago. So,
All right, I'd look for a motion to keep the current depository schedule in place.
I'll make a motion.
Pete on the motion,
I'll second.
Rondi on the second. Any other discussion?
I just, one question, in finance committee, we changed one of these, right, didn't we, to,
the student activity account.
yeah, and that just went from, we just had that in one bank, now we're,
Yeah, and now we're gonna
Rotated.
diversify that
Yeah.
as well.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Letter G, designation of the board's legal counsel and authorized contacts. We use Ratlick, Rozak, and Maloney. The superintendent, district office personnel, and school board chairman are the authorized contacts. I guess I've been happy with our legal counsel. So I would look to continue on with them, and I would look for a motion for that.
I'll make the motion to continue as is with Ratwick, Roswick, and Maloney.
Luke on the motion,
I'll second.
Jody on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Establish the annual salary for board members. Currently, we are at $1,250 per year per member, half paid on June 15th, half on December 15th. Negotiators are paid an additional $250, and alternate negotiators are paid an additional $125 per year. So this is always a fun one to talk about. I guess I just want to state that I'm going to recommend that we keep that the same this year, but also just bring attention to, I don't know if you guys looked through some of the examples and stuff that were put in there compared to what other districts are receiving. I guess I would state maybe possibly looking at this in the future, next year, bumping it up a little bit, just trying to keep up. This, I know a lot of us, myself included, didn't know that you even got paid before you got on the board. But your time is definitely worth something, or at least your travel, at least to cover expenses to get here. So that's something to always consider, and I think we are all here for the right reasons and put our time in accordingly. But something we probably look at in the future is of upping that just a little bit, so. If there's anything else anyone else would like to add, or else I would look for a motion for one way or the other.
I'll make a motion to keep it at the current rate it's at.
Okay, Randy on the motion,
I'll second.
Luke on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Payroll authorization for the use of facsimile signature on payroll and voucher checks in accordance with M.S.
Minnesota statute.
There you go.
Good teamwork.
Brand new to this.
47.41 and 47.42. Any other?
It's basically.
Description?
It's basically an electronic signature instead of handwritten signature.
Okay.
Can we call it auto pen?
Yes.
Careful.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Careful. All right, I look for a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion.
Jody on the motion,
I will second.
Pete on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution for combined polling place. This resolution is no longer necessary on an annual basis. It's only recommended, or required, gosh, this is a bad one. It is only required if the school district changes the polling location. The resolution will remain on future agendas for tracking purposes only.
I recommend not changing our polling location as it is currently for the combined at City Hall for special elections. So we can just skip that for now.
Moving on to K, authorization allowing the superintendent to approve purchases up to $10,000. I believe this has been in effect for,
Quite a few years. And $10,000 is plenty. I guess I can't think of any instances where we may even come close to that. Can you, Josh?
No, and this is only being non-budgeted items, so.
Right,
If it's
with
like-
budgeted items that are above the 10,000, that's already budgeted for, so.
Didn't we do, oh, sorry, go ahead.
This would be for like emergency.
Yeah, didn't we do something different for construction projects though, or did we meet every time we did? That'd be a separate,
That'd be separate.
Okay.
Yeah, since the construction project is done, we won't need to have that schedule anymore.
right on.
so I would look for a motion for authorization allowing the superintendent to approve purchases up to $10,000.
I'll make the motion to continue as is with the $10,000 limit.
Luke on the motion,
I'll second.
Randy on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Designation of superintendent as the LEA, which is the local education agent representative in the IOWA for 25-26. Consideration to approve the designation of the identified official with authority for the MDE External User Access Recertification System. The Minnesota Department of Education, which is the MDE, requires that school districts annually designate an identified official with authority to comply with the MNIT Enterprise Identity and Access Management Standard, which states that all user access rights to Minnesota state systems must be reviewed and recertified at least annually. The identified official with authority will assign job duties and authorize external users access to MDE Secure Systems for their local agency, their local education agency, which is the LEA. The board recommends to authorize Jeff Sampson to act as the identified official with authority, which is the Iowa, with Lori Anderson, or Lori Hanson to act as the IOWA to add and remove names for Cannon Falls Area Schools, District 252.
So this basically gives our employees access to secure systems on the MDE website to allow them to do it now, basically. So, and then I have to assign all those out.
So I would look for a motion to approve that. No, I'm not gonna read it again.
Joanne, read that.
I'll make a motion to maintain Jeff as the designated LEA.
In IOWA?
Yeah.
With Lori Hanson?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Lori knew what you meant.
Yeah, keep it short and sweet.
With Lori Hanson.
Yes. Look for a second.
I'll second.
Jody in a second.
You should probably run that around. It's a resolution.
It's a
There's a
resolution.
resolution.
And I don't have my,
You can.
okay.
You can do
We
it.
believe in you.
So I don't have to read it again?
It's voting.
Just
Okay, all right. Luke,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Rondi,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. 5-0. All right, before we get into committee assignments then, I want to go over just committee reports from last month. If anyone has anything that they would like to add on their committees.
We had our WETAC meeting right before the holidays, and it was more just around the funding that was coming into Cannon for security. They were doing some project for security cameras. There's a grant that years ago, apparently, in the last administration was given, and they're now deploying all those funds for security cameras and technology updates to support those. So Cannon was, it sounds like he just wrapped those up right before the holidays. So that was our last update that impacted our district.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. We've had a couple Ed Foundation meetings. They continue to raise great funds and support our school and community, you know, really well. And a lot of teachers are given some great things that maybe aren't in regular budgeted items. So we thank them for that. They're a great supporter of the school. And then we also have had a couple community ed meetings, and I know our last meeting we went through and approved the survey for looking at what the community thinks of the possibility of bomber care and wraparound care, so I won't talk about that too much because I know we discussed it last meeting, but that's what's going on with community ed and Ed Foundation.
Thank you.
And I had a staff development and, what's the other one? Oh, and the district advisory meeting, and both of them, there's really no updates, they're just continuing. They hope to have more come this month, so, for the next month, so everything's on track.
Okay. I'll add that we had a transportation meeting discussing, if you remember last year, we did not, we had to cancel our bus. We're looking at getting back on track with that, as well as we have some, quite a few vans that are really getting out of shape, getting older, a lot of miles, so looking over the possibility of getting some more vans. There's been discussion on whether we get one bus or we get two to get us back to where we're keeping on schedule, or if we go with one bus and possibly some more vans, because the vans are what's kind of deteriorating a lot quicker. So there will be another, there should be, for the next meeting, there'll be a recommendation coming from the Transportation Committee on how we move forward, so, or what we're looking at doing going forward. And then also just kind of tying that in with some facilities, a few of us did a walkthrough at the bus garage. Bus garage is in rough shape, so really rough shape. So whether it's the office, or if it's the shop, or if it's the buildings itself. So we preliminarily kind of started looking at what some costs would be to either rebuild portions of it, or the whole thing, or make some modifications. So that will be something that we have a facilities meeting coming up next week, so there will be some more discussion on that, as well as finance. There's gonna be a finance meeting, which that will all tie in together, because it will be talking about using those potential data center money coming in and how that's going to be used. So, but bus garage could be possibly one option with how we use some of the funds. Also talked about soccer doesn't quite really have just a good game field, so we've had some discussion about putting a little bit of work into the current practice football field out there and making that a game-ready field. So that is also one other thing that's been kind of discussed on the facility level, and discussions will continue to move forward.
Question on, if we were to make, and if we get to this next week, that's fine, but or the next meeting, on the bus, if we add one back, does that bring back the routes then? So does that, we're gonna add back in a new route, is that the intent, or?
No, I think it's just buying that bus to keep us on schedule for making sure that we're not getting back on leasing, because as we were getting off our leases that we had with our buses, the idea was to start buying them individually, if you remember that.
Yep, I recall that.
And so there hasn't been any talk about bringing back that route that we cut
Okay.
right now, but it's just getting back on track with our purchasing for the schedule that we have.
All right.
All right, anything else want to be added for committees? Okay, then we'll go to a little bit of discussion on our MREA visit, which was back in November. My fault for forgetting about it for a couple meetings. New membership, we joined there last year, correct? So this was the second conference that we've been a part of. I guess MREA is kind of more up our alley with smaller rural schools, and having discussion with other schools and other school leaders, talking through very similar conflicts that we have, or situations, or whatever else. So I don't know if anyone wants to kind of talk a little bit about what they thought there, or what they learned.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great conference. I guess I would just make note on one of the breakout sessions that I went to was AI in the classroom. I thought, because I don't really understand AI, so I was trying to learn about it and what it meant, and it was interesting because there were some teachers in there.
You sent me some things that were made by AI.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I'm learning. And it was interesting, and it was really cool because I think there were some teachers in there that were interested as well as what it meant for them and what it meant for their careers. But the person put on that presentation was a professor from Winona State, and she was just talking about how you can use it as a tool to make your job more efficient. And whether it was presentations, lessons plans, or one example she had was she was using AI or ChatGPT to modify math question, like what do you call them? They're spelled like word problems, story problems, and it was more so that she had kids that dreaded story problems, couldn't figure them out, was terrified to even start reading them. But she was changing the names to Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson catches 7 balls and whatever, or he catches, for 10 yards, but it's a penalty, whatever, and just different ways to get kids. And then she found out she was having kids that were actually looking for the problems and trying to figure them out versus being terrified of even starting them, which was really cool. And she would use specific names, like the students' names or classmates' names in the problems too, and it got kids to dive in versus putting up a barrier, which is pretty cool. But she said, yeah, just a tool to be more efficient, whether it was lesson planning, drafting emails to parents, and she was very clear and said, there's lots of errors that happen in these programs, but I thought it was a way of, hopefully, if our teachers are using it, they can use it and save some time, get some of their time back, that we all know they put in extra time, and which I thought was interesting. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was very well aligned to what our district is, so you mentioned that, right? And even if we were on the upper threshold of the size of some of those districts, I mean, you go into some of those breakout sessions, and there's districts obviously much smaller than us, but their needs don't change. They're more aligned to what we're doing, and how one of the breakout sessions I went to was around the differentiator of classes that they get to offer, right? So you think about our innovation lab, our shop, so what I'd consider non-traditional, or some programs that are getting cut at larger districts because they can be very expensive. Districts our size and even some of the smaller ones were gaining attendance because of that. They had an uptick in attendance because their kids are more aligned to a shop class, a welding class. So it was interesting to hear their take on it and how they are kind of marketed into that and really being similar to what we do here. So I agree. I think it was a great alignment with what our district size and some of the needs we have.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that and just say, going to a conference, we go to the large MSBA conference each year too, but it's great to go to a conference with all schools our sizes and kind of talk and network with other district leaders. I thought it was interesting, there's teachers there too, and to get their feedback and stuff. We also sat down with some college grads, or gonna be college grads, that, is just a great informal area to talk to teachers and stuff, and new teachers that were coming on and get their opinions on some, what's new and upcoming, what they're learning in college and stuff like that, and what they could bring to the table for, a new perspective, for a young perspective to our school. So, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think you walked away with a dozen applications or so.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That was a lot of fun.
It was
It's fun.
fun.
Yeah,
fun.
doing a lot of
It's kind of
interviews
a
there.
quick, short, almost like an interview
Yeah.
with these
But very
CBD college
informal.
Right.
Mhm.
college graduates, and
Yeah.
they were very engaging, which is
Yep.
great.
Yeah, made it more comfortable and spoke more openly, so that was interesting.
When we join groups like this, what's a typical, do we do memberships by the year, or what's typically the renewal?
Yeah, we have
schedule?
a membership that's renewed, is it July 1st usually, Lori? Yeah.
And then probably the other breakout session that I know Randy and I went to, he was there too, was the 4-day school week, which we were all interested in because it was part of our potential cuts that were gonna happen here. It was interesting, their school district covered 3 towns and 350 square miles, so most of their savings was from cutting a day out of that transportation essentially. And Pete and I think we ChatGPT'd our area. I don't remember what the square miles were, but it was
like a half, less than
yeah,
half.
it was considerably less, so it was pretty easy to see where they were getting the cost savings for, but it was interesting because they were really excited about it, they loved it.
They were.
Their whole
That's cool.
community loved it. They said the first year was rough, I think.
Yep.
Took some time to get used to it. And they just put an emphasis on, if we're doing it, you have to be in school those 4 days. You can't, unless you're terribly sick or whatever, but you can't, even family vacations are tough when you're taking out a day. I thought that was interesting.
For students and teachers.
Yeah.
Across the board, they make it important for teachers to know to make their appointments on that. Their day off was Monday, so make your appointments on Monday so that you're not taking PTO days or whatever, and then same with students. And the town wrapped around that too, and set aside appointment times for students and teachers on those days.
Yeah, one of the things they said several times were the nights at home were short because you're going a little later and then you have activities, but Sundays were great because you weren't in school on Monday, so you had time with family. And we asked about why Monday, so they were off on Mondays, and why not Fridays? Just naturally, Fridays seemed like but they said attendance would show that Mondays are a bad day for kids to be, they miss a lot on Mondays. So if you gave them the Monday off, that was a way to, because a lot of times on Fridays, there's events. So
Yeah.
whether it's
And Fridays are
football or whatever,
fundraisers.
so they're, maybe more motivated to
Well,
show up. or
I'd say in general, there's probably a lot less events on Monday nights.
Yeah,
as well.
and they said they don't plan any, they do have some events on Mondays, but they don't do any junior high practices, anything like that.
Yeah, they said the teachers like Monday 'cause it's a prep day, right? And then you get into the week versus keeping it as a Sunday, you go right into the week and Friday was, I thought it was interesting they picked Monday. I mean, it made sense in how they deployed it, but.
Yeah, yeah,
Very-
because teachers were off a majority of
Yeah.
those Mondays as well. They used some of those days as their staff development days, but teachers were off most of those days as well.
And one of the items they were able to keep or continue to go on with was their fax program. So they were saving money, but they were able to keep programs like that that aren't required by the state, but are important. And I think we would all love to have it back here someday, but so to allow them to do that, which was interesting.
The other one that I thought was an interesting one that they talked to that they had to work through was how they do fundraising.
Yeah.
So they go down to that, and so they go down to, what was it, 4? That's it? Regardless of the program, so they only do 4 fundraisers across the year. They said it took multiple years to figure out which 4 they're gonna pick, and then how they designate that money. They want the clubs or the groups to come to them and ask, you need new jerseys, you need new equipment, whatever it is. But I don't know how many years they said it took them to figure that out.
Yeah.
Going down to that 1 week, they didn't think that was gonna be an impact, and going down to that, cut that down was, well, no, I honestly think it was just.
But it
4,
sounded
maybe
like they
3.
had huge community
Yes.
support for
Yeah.
those 4
Yeah,
events.
because there's only
then.
4, yeah.
Yep.
that's
So
it.
essentially, they would do like a large event like a color run, and the whole town, or all 3 towns would show up. And it was a great community event because you had everybody gathered, and then you weren't, every activity wasn't asking local businesses. It was really cool. It's a little bit off base what we're talking about, but it was very interesting.
Yeah,
I think,
that's super
for-
interesting. I mean, again, that's why this conference is good, because it's schools our size, just getting ideas of what would work, and some things, of course, are not gonna work for our school, but some things could, and just opens your eyes to things that we maybe didn't think about.
And then I think the other thing, Stephen would probably be interested in this, they have a crazy amount of applicants when they have a opening. So when there's an opening, they get people that want
Yeah.
that 4-day, and they
Yeah.
get, I don't remember what the numbers were.
It
but-
was something like they got 4 applicants for one position before they went to this, and then now they get anywhere from 20 to 30 applicants per position, which is great, right, for the school to have that pick of many applicants. Yeah, yeah. I'll just add to, the speaker, opening, closing speaker was Joe Beckman. I know we've all seen him here. He's great, and he's just reminds us that public schools are important, and they're good for human connection and great for students to attend public schools. And I just love that he does a good job of sharing that message about public schools, and to be excited about public schools and where they're headed, and that they're needed.
All right, good discussion. So we will move on to letter M, committee assignments. Everything is shown who's on what for this last year. Is there anyone that would like to make any changes? The one thing that I was going to look at doing is removing one alternate for the GCED position.
I'm good with what I got.
What's that?
I'm good with where I'm at.
I'm happy to drop off, I don't think I've participated in that as an alternate, so,
Okay.
I would have to agree.
yeah.
Yeah, personally, I'm fine with where I fall on here. I think there's some things in the work that I would like to continue on with, within that committee. On top of that, I did ask Jolynn about GCED, because there's some travel there, to Reading, but, and she was good with continuing there too, so.
Well, I was just gonna say that now's the opportunity, Joanne's not here, so.
Yeah, right, load her up.
Did you have some brought up for WeTech?
Yeah, right.
I'm happy where I'm at too. I feel like I'm just now finally learned the position, so now I can offer.
That's where, like, I think it's good for everyone to move around a little bit, but also at the same time, I think it takes probably a couple of years to kind of get a full understanding.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I think where I at,
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to know more and learn more.
All right. Lori, I don't need a motion or second for that, right? Just making sure I'm following the
You're
rules.
doing good. I'll let you know.
Okay, so basically the only one thing we're going to change is we're just going to remove Pete as a alternate for the GCD. Else we will keep everything else as is. All right, so then I will move on to reports in communication. And we're just gonna change the numbers up, but just slide everyone down a little bit because I wanna start off with our new student reporter, Lily Nelson. So first off, thank you for volunteering for this
Yes,
role.
thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. So basically, the student body has been pretty good because we had only 3 days last week. It was very nice. Even though those icy conditions on the gravel roads were pretty bad, I will say it was very nice having school off. Before our break, it was pretty simple at school. We had bingo on the last day of school, ending off our last hour. We had lots of prizes, lots of activities, things to, just, it was a fun way to end the end of that. End of 2025, and also 2 weeks before that, MHS had ran the food shelf, and we had gotten way more food than I have ever seen before in my, ever. It was so awesome. I was so happy to just see all of that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
MHS did really well that. Moving into current events, this past weekend, there was dance, weightlifting, and wrestling over this weekend. I know dance did really well this weekend compared to previously, so I was very happy to see all of their faces this weekend. Weightlifting had a meet in Lakeville South. It was good. I think there was over 200 kids there, just to lift everybody anywhere from Moorhead to Cannon Falls. It was awesome. Wrestling had girls, boys, and little kids this weekend, and it was just fun to just see how many people had showed up over the weekend.
There was so many
There's
people.
There was a lot, is what I heard. So that was super just fun, I'm sure, and the wrestling program always does well for that. So just very fun to see that. Moving into this week, and we've got the co-op with Randolph for those girls, and I've heard just good things, which is just very fun. Good stuff. Boys this week, hoping for the best.
Hope you feel better than that.
Put 'em on the spot.
And then basically because it's January, I know FFA has got some competitions coming up, so it's some extracurricular stuff for that. I'm trying to think of anything else. There is also tomorrow we have the Courage Retreat for the 7th graders, so that will be very fun. I know the school had tried to get a whole bunch of, instead of, usually MHS is the kids that will run it, but we had a whole bunch of other people try to get it because the 7th grade group has a lot of boys. So it'll be very fun to hear how that goes. I know that it's finals week, so it's really hard to get some of those people, but trying to get a lot of those senior boys to try to come out and just show some of those 7th graders on what respect is and just stuff like that. So yeah, that's all I got. That's awesome.
All right.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lily.
Thanks for being here.
Welcome.
All right, move on to elementary school report. Mr. Strauss, anything you'd like to add to your report?
Just wanted to
Besides that I saw you, a picture on the roof, I think.
I don't know what you're talking about. I heard rumors that there was an elf.
I'm sure there was a safety harness underneath somewhere.
Josh and I took the proper precautions. Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun. I had a couple teachers actually that had asked me about it right after Thanksgiving. I go, yeah, I don't know, maybe. And then the next week, a couple more asked me about it. And they showed me some pictures and videos of other school staff principals, I don't know, different places that I've done it. I'm like, okay, that looks fun.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was good. That was
That was a good time, yeah. The only other thing to add to my report, nothing to add, just to kind of elaborate on, we got another student teacher that started a week ago today. Kira, she's gonna be in 1st grade for a little bit and then preschool for a little bit. And just to kind of tie that back into what you guys were talking about with the MREA conference and some of those students in College of Educations right now and eventually student teaching. Jeff forwarded me on some of those applications that he was given to, and I actually reached out already to the ones that are either from within, let's say, 45 minutes of Cannon Falls, or their colleges within, like I think I did like an hour and a half of Cannon Falls, and just reached out to them and say, hey, we love having student teachers here. You know, if you want to talk sometime, let me know. A couple of them got back to me and said like they'll be student teaching in the fall or maybe next spring, but they'll keep us in mind. And then I'll likely be going to, the way we get most of our student teachers here is through this Winona State Student Teaching Day that I go to. And there'll be another one coming up in February. So that's how I got Kira. That's how we had 4 in the fall. 2 of them I got when I attended last spring. So just trying to recruit as many as we can because we've hired some for full-time positions. I've got 2 that are hired for this spring. 1 that started last Monday for, you know, maternity leave's coming up. So the more we can get them in here and kind of teach them, you know, our ways too under the great teachers we have. And when I talk with the teachers, and Jeff and I have had this conversation too about how somebody helped us out years ago, you know, when we needed a student teach. So it's just kind of good to give back to the profession as well. So, yeah. Otherwise, any questions?
All right, thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen.
Everyone else's reports are there. If you had time to read them. Else, we will move on to the SUPS report.
I don't have much except for just a reminder that we have the MSBA conference for a couple of you will be coming up tomorrow night, I believe. And then phase 2 will be on Wednesday all day, and then the rest of you should be showing up on Wednesday night. Is anybody planning on being up there later than 5, 6 o'clock?
Not I.
Okay.
I will not be there. I'll be
Oh,
in
that's right,
Capricorn.
yep, and then Jolene should be there on time.
Shame on you.
I know. Bring back some sunshine for you.
There you go.
And then Thursday, obviously, with the conference beginning, and Friday as well, so.
Okay.
If you guys don't have any questions on that, that's really all I've got. We do have a facility and finance committee meeting now. I was gonna mention that during the committee reports, but we have those scheduled coming up for your guys' information.
I mentioned it too.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh, I must
Next
not
Monday
have
and
missed
Tuesday.
it.
Did you send a calendar invite?
We're not AI yet. Come on, Luke. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
All right, look at letter B. We got approval of the minutes from the meetings on December 15th, the 22nd, and the 30th. I will look for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Luke on the motion, Rondi on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public input. I'm just gonna go with that there's no one that wants to talk. All right, that is closed. Moving on, action items. Consideration to review Cannon Falls Policy Series 200-500 and 800. No additional changes to these policies. This is to keep the policies in the mandatory 3-year review cycle.
So if you look at all of our MSBA policies on our website, they're organized in the 100s, 200s, 300s, 400s, 500s, 600s, 700, 800, and 900 series, and we assess them every 3 years with our policy committee and add any changes from the legislature or recommendations from MSBA or our lawyers from that at that time. But this is just a housekeeping item that you guys will need to allow us to do to review those 3 series of the 200, 500, and 800 series.
Any questions for Jeff? If not, I would look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Jody on the motion.
I'll second.
Pete on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, consideration to approve policy 104, district mission statement. Also Cannon Falls mission, vision, and strategic priorities.
I believe these have not changed since last year, but we still need to approve them at this point.
What would be a normal, you review it and make changes or change our mission statement? I mean, is it,
Usually the mission statement and the vision and strategic priorities usually change during that process that we went through probably a couple of years ago
okay,
with
Yeah.
Sue. And we can certainly look at doing that again here in another year or two, but you wanna set those for quite a while, so that you have time to accomplish some goals and stuff.
And who would that be discussed with?
Amongst yourselves, with your stakeholders, like the employees and the community and the students.
Okay, so you wouldn't have like a committee for that? Or-
We could, depending on, we can look at, I know Sue engaged with the teachers and attempted with the community, and there's a few community members that showed up for that, for input into that strategic plan.
Sure.
And then, had the board, I believe, had some input as well with that, so.
So basically, you're just reiterating anybody who has any thoughts or to add to it, to
Yeah.
reach out to a board member? Or you, or?
Yeah, usually when you look at redoing your strategic plan, it is a process. And
Mhm.
so it's not just a committee with a couple of people.
Mhm.
And then once you set that, kind of sets the direction for administration to say, we're going to accomplish these things. And then, once those things have been accomplished, then the board will probably sit down and say, well, we need to look at our strategic priorities again, so that we set it for the next 5 years as a roadmap of what we want to accomplish. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, and the reason I asked is, I don't have any reason for change, I just was curious if we should be, when should we be looking at it?
We can certainly look at, it's probably a good idea, we do have a spreadsheet here, I gotta figure out which one it is.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at says it goes until 2026, so that's this year. That we have to, because the other one's 19
Yep.
to 22.
This one is through 24 through 26. Yep. And administratively, we gotta look at where we are at with some of these priorities and addressing them. And then we can probably get back to the board to say how far and give an update on this as well, if you want to. We can certainly do that either in the end of January, or we should probably look at the first, or the next February one, just to say, here's where we're at with our strategic priorities and accomplishments. And, if we need to look at re-upping this plan, it could be something that we could talk about doing next fall again,
Mhm.
or start the process at least.
Yeah, I think if administration looks at this, I think it would be a good thing to see
Yeah,
where we're falling and.
Yeah, if we use it,
Sure.
absolutely.
All right, good discussion. I'd look for a motion to approve policy 104, our district mission statement, and our Cannon Falls mission, vision, and strategic priorities.
I'll make a motion.
Andy on the motion.
Second.
Luke on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration to approve the updated 25-26 winter coaching list.
I believe the only change on this one is a speech
Yes.
is the only update there, right?
It was Mr. Fogarty, correct?
Yes.
All right. And assistant coaches, Annie Peterson,
Yep.
and Emma Watson.
Yep.
Okay. Look for a motion to approve the updated 25-26 winter coaching list.
I'll move to approve.
Luke on the motion,
I will second.
Pete on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, public hearing and comment opportunity number 2. And this is for the early start options for the calendars. If Jeff, if you want to just kind of give a brief description of what we're looking at possibly doing?
Yes, every 2 years, a calendar committee gets together, and the calendar committee is made up of administrators and teacher representatives to give input to the next 2 years' calendars. There's some momentum to have schools start not only 1 week early, as the legislature allowed us to do, but to start 2 weeks early and possibly look at that, doing that on an ongoing basis. The outcome was the 2 calendars that we have for the 26-27 school year and the 27-28 school year. If we do start 2 years early, by statute, we have to ask for a flexible learning year application that we need to turn into the state. And to do this, we have to have 3 public comment periods for it. Some of the highlights of both calendars, obviously we would be starting 2 weeks early. Some thoughts and consideration were given around the Labor Day timeframe. And obviously students, like any year, if they have anything special going on, we're very flexible with students to let them out of school and to attend things like the state fair. The calendars are nice because, and Stephen can maybe help me out here a little bit, but we tried to end the quarters and specifically the semesters around natural breaks so that we're not bringing kids back for long periods of time. For example, after Christmas break. And so we felt that that was very important as well when you look at when the semester is going to end and when the new one would start. And obviously the end of the school year would be in the more of the middle of the May timeframe instead of extending down into June with as late as the calendar is pushed out for this year.
But then also keeping in consideration for graduation with Memorial Day weekend and that, so that doesn't interfere with that, so.
Right.
Having that a week before.
Yeah, having a lot of things to consider. Was some good conversation that we had with our staff members, and they ended up supporting these 2 versions, obviously, and in listening to some of what the board members' concerns were also. We are going to have a spring break in both of the years, and we decided to have it consistent with it being this week in March, because that will line up nicely with 3 scheduled trips that we have when students are out of the building anyway. So there was some attention paid to that as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else special that we had that we really considered as far as big picture wise.
We talked conferences, was one thing that we kind of
Yep.
looked into. This would give an option for conferences in, I believe it was November and February on the next year's, to have an early release on a Thursday, like a normal PLC time period in terms of an early release, with some afternoon and evening conferences. And then the next day, no school for students with morning conferences and then PLC meeting in the afternoon. So there will be options essentially from 8 a.m. all the way through roughly 7:30 p.m. one of those 2 days for conferences. So if the traditional 4 to 8 p.m. doesn't work, you could maybe sign up for a 1:30 one that afternoon or a 9 a.m. one the next morning. So,
More flexibility for parents for
Yeah.
conference times.
Do we get I like that, providing the opportunity, do we get a lot of requests for the early morning?
you know, we don't have specific requests just because we've never really had that option, but we do have people that consistently, not complain, just in conversation say like, well,
Be nice to have
you know, I work from 9 to 5 and then my kids are home, you know, I can make an 8 a.m. one, or,
Okay.
you know, I work nights, you know, morning when we work out well, or whatever the situation is. So try to be cognizant of that.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
All right, so I will open up our public comment right now. Now I'm going to close it. All right, then lastly, we'll do the newly added Around the Horn. Mr. Strauss, I'll start with you if there's anything you want to get off your chest.
Yeah, careful.
Careful how you read that.
No, I'm excited for, you know, to keep going. I actually sent out my newsletter for January this morning. I meant to do it last week, and I had it all typed up and ready to go, and messaged Infinite Campus and everything, and just didn't click the send button that I found out this morning. So I was talking with one of my staff members this morning and I mentioned something and she's like, what are you talking about? You didn't get my newsletter? You got kids in my school. She's like, you didn't send out your newsletter. So I went back and I did it this morning. And just one of the things in there is that it's always coming back from, the winter break is kind of fun to renew, for teachers to renew those relationships with kids, to review expectations as well. I review expectations with staff review their expectations with students, just on all the things that are going on, because you can't expect to go over something the first week of school and for anybody to remember it all the way through May. So that's just been a big kind of point of emphasis, I guess. But otherwise, no. Hope everybody had a good Christmas season.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Josh, anything you'd like to add?
Well, busy time in the office. I'm actually kind of glad you guys are going to MSBA. Should be nice. Be revising the current budget for Finance Committee on Monday. Bring some stuff in again, but the facilities in on the Tuesday. On top of that, basketball is going well, and we're going to hit really kind of a busy stretch now. And the 51 days that we've had basketball so far this year, we've got 10 games in. And the next 18 we'll get 9. So kids would rather play than practice anyway. But
Has the Zumbrota been rescheduled yet?
That 24th.
24th? Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, busy, but good.
All right. Lori, you want to add anything?
No, just looking forward to the week with all of you.
Was that serious?
We'll ask her after.
Luke, anything?
I went to wrestling this weekend. I thought it was really cool. I'd never been to that before that we hosted. It was
Organized chaos.
Yeah, I went Saturday and it was very, and as soon as I walked in, there was an injury that happened and the fire department came and, but it was all
Yeah, the
well
kneecap.
taken care of. And other than I can't understand Kevin Landry on the microphone, but it was really cool. I love to see a field house used, and they had 6 mats in there, so I'm sure between the wrestling community and Steven's crew, they put a lot of work in to get that ready, which is really good to see. I just would like to remind students that they're free entry to our events. I think that's something unique to Cannon Falls, and you know, I love going to volleyball games when the student section is roaring and going, and if we could replicate that in basketball and other things, I think that would be awesome too. And then lastly, I'm guilty of this because I've been on the board for 4 years and I never once have gone on the Lanterns website, and I'm blown away by how nice it is. And the reason I bring it up is because I have a niece that writes for the Lantern and interviewed me for one thing, and I had no idea what it was even for. But it's really well done. It's a good place to get information. It's easier to work than our own website. So put that up there. Shots fired.
It's funny you mention that because that was gonna be mine, if I'm allowed to speak.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
well, I haven't gotten to you yet.
That's all I got.
When you're called on.
Jody?
Not too much, I'm just looking forward to going up to MSBA this week and seeing some of the speakers.
Andy?
I'll say this is all, well, Jody and myself and Pete, this is our first meeting of our second year on the board, and I can only speak for myself in saying, you know, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. We had kind of a crazy year, and I just want to thank you guys for taking our questions. I know I probably had some dumb questions sometimes, and you guys were good at leading us in the right direction, and I appreciate that. So we're all still here, so here's to another year.
Exactly.
Lily, anything else you want to add?
No,
You did
good.
it. All right. Pete?
Yeah, I just echo what Ronnie said. I appreciate you guys helping us with the first year, right? We intense, but a very good way for, I can only speak for myself, a good way to learn, right? All the processes, what we need to go through, and the importance of the board. So many thanks to you guys. I greatly appreciate it. I was going to touch on the wrestling comment. I hadn't been at an event that big in our school before, right? That was on Saturday. There were 17 teams here, so there's over 450 wrestlers in and out of that building, and how smooth it ran. I mean, many kudos to the facilities team, but also walking around, right? I'm on the board of Matt Rats, and people just hearing, stop and talking like, this is incredible. You guys are gonna do this again. The Friday night was one of the first events we hosted that type, and so we're getting that off the ground, and we had a good showing for that, for the first one. So again, the facilities there of the field house just, I think blew a lot of people away when they come in and they get to see the space. So, a lot of activity this weekend.
And our wrestlers
Great
cleaned
volunteers.
it, cleaned up.
Oh, yeah, they
did
went
very well.
5 champions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
So-
Very nice. It's awesome.
Okay, your turn.
My turn? Funny you mentioned the website. Because our current website isn't ADA compliant, we are gonna be required to change our website, and so we got an early start on that, and it's not due until, is it April of '27, so we're just over a year out from being required to switch it, but we've been working on switching that right now. I can give you a sneak peek at what we've come up with. We are finalizing it right now. We will have an app also that people can download as well with it. And so it won't be perfect, and that is Basecamp. It won't be perfect when it comes out, but it will be hopefully a lot more user-friendly and things for people to basically get better information out of. And some of these pictures we have to keep up there and probably keep revisiting, you know. Right there.
It's the best.
So, but yeah, this will be the first initial look at our website, and then it'll have some Cannon Falls news in there. It'll have a live feed that'll feed in from our social media. The calendar thing, we're still trying to work out, because we have about 50 different calendars. And so
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out which ones that we need to feed into here. So that's still, I think, a hurdle at this point, without having to manually do it. I guess I haven't heard an update on the calendar.
That's the one thing that I still have like on my list of a big thing that I don't know, haven't heard anything there. I think Aaron was Aaron or Tim gonna look into
Aaron and Tim are going
the
to,
calendar, like how to sync them and how many. I think Aaron said you get, with our platform that we purchased, we get one.
yep,
You can pay for another one or something. That
yeah,
sounds.
so we gotta figure out how the calendar piece is gonna work out. So it's in the background, being worked on and kind of being fine-tooth combed. It won't be perfect when it comes out, and we'll be looking for ways for people to provide input about what we can fix or what needs to be fixed yet, because there's so much information obviously on the current
Yeah.
website that's live.
Yep.
And we're trying to downsize it a little bit, so we won't have a website for every, school building. We're just gonna have one website that you can visit, that'll help, be a little bit more efficient, I guess. So,
You brought up an interesting point on the ADA. I asked Aaron what that meant, what that means at our last WeTech, 'cause he's helping with this, and it was around what you just said, being able to download an app, being able to read PDFs, or for individuals that are hard of seeing, they can read it back to them. So there's a lot of functionality of a website that I would think, how does it need to be ADA? But that's driving a lot of that, the design and some of the requirements that are coming through it, which makes, he said, makes for a better user experience across the board, for interacting with all the information that schools have.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a pain point within the community, our current website. And
Oh,
just
yeah.
trying to find things efficiently, you know, it's all there, which is great, but it
Yep.
can be hard
It's
to.
a pain point within our staff too.
Yeah.
Me
too. I
don't
can't
like
find
the
anything
website.
other, yeah.
This one will be much better.
Yeah,
We
cool.
put in quite a bit of time with this. It'll be good.
Great.
Yeah, you find what you need, you can't go back and find it again.
I have that problem. So, that's all I got.
All right. I guess I'll just add, I'm very thankful for our board that we have here and thankful for all our admin. The last year has definitely had our challenges, and then us as a board, we definitely all have come from different backgrounds, we have different opinions and different things, and I feel that we do a very good job of working together to come to solutions and doing it the right way, and not being hostile towards each other and talking our differences out. And I feel that we've done a very good job at strengthening our committees, so to make sure that we have way more well-rounded input going in. So I feel like we've made some real strides there, and so I look forward to that continuing to get better. And I've been happy with how all of you have all handled things, so, it is, I guess I wouldn't say that last year has been an absolute great year, but we definitely had some highs and we had some lows. So, working with all you guys to getting that referendum passed through, that was a huge lift, and that's where, everyone all involved, all the board, all admin, a lot of staff members, everyone coming together to work for one thing that was, big, so. Look forward to at least one more year, so, and besides that, I mean, I really enjoyed watching that Packer-Bear game.
Sorry, we can end it now. You said not hostile, so let's see how far this goes.
All right, next school board meeting will be right back here in the boardroom on the 26th of January at 6 o'clock. There's just a couple things there that we have potentially on the agenda. With all that, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Luke on the motion,
I'll second.
Ronnie on the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Thank you.